Welcome everyone to Ponce's Fathom Hobbies. This is our model build for the Genesis Climber Mospeada Classic Vintage 1985 ride armor. We're going to do Scott Bernard, just getting the model unboxed. There's two kits in this one, so we're going to get the classic Scott Bernard model. I went to the hobby shop, got some masking tape, and I picked up a can of some Tamiya pearl green spray paint. That'll be the basic one. The rest of it I'll be doing with the airbrush. I got the airbrush out on the table here. So just getting everything set up for the build here. The instructions are pretty cool. It's got the decal instructions in the back. It's only just a one fold out of the model build instructions, and it's got the painting guide as well. So you've got a little bit of red, a little bit of that pearl green. They've got a gray here, but I'm actually going to add metallic colors to the build, and I'll use I'll use a couple different sprays, whether it's from the airbrush or from the kit. So there's some pre-assembly here that's going on, so I'm not going to spray. I didn't spray them like on the board. I'm going to spray them partially assembled in some cases, like the inner pieces have to be assembled. So there's a bit of planning that goes into this. It's not really explicit in the instructions. Basically, it's spray some parts, assemble them. You might want to spray them up again. So I've got kind of them separated between the pearl green pieces and things that'll be with a white. And then I will also, there's a couple pieces that are red. And then obviously the metallic pieces for the rims and some of the gear for the tires. And obviously the tires will be black. So I'm getting the palette set for these. And I'll probably do some weathering with this as well. One of the key things for this model too is having built a lot of RG models recently. This is such an old school model, definitely requires rubber cement, and also the assembly isn't as it's not as intuitive for the assembly. So you have to do a little bit of thinking beforehand. Like even those wheel fins, they literally have to be placed at the angle by your own eye. So I just look at the box art and kind of follow the guide. Also have to be careful with some of the gluing here because you'll have some moving pieces. Obviously you don't want to glue everything, so a little bit of thinking through in the model, which I found was refreshing. Those RG models, those Bondi RG models are so well engineered, it's like they build themselves. Where this does have a little bit of planning. So I've got everything ready for spraying. I've got them grouped into the different groups, and just kind of getting prepped for the spray through. Some of these will require some multiple colors. I will do a little bit of brush work and maybe some masking. So I've got some gray here. I've got red. I've got aluminum for the metallic parts. I've got a gold color and a kind of clear color that I'm going to use for the visors. These are both clear. And then obviously I've got the can. So this is like my first day wrapping up. Going to do the spraying the next day. So bright and early next day, I'm out here doing some tests on the plastic forks just to make sure I got my spray in good consistency. And then I'm going to go out. I've got the tests looking pretty good, so I'm going to use those sprays for from the can. I'll do the same kind of test when I get to the airbrush. So I'm going to get all this moved out to the spray booth and start taking care of all this. You know, this Tamiya spray can was real nice, really easy to use. It does flow a bit heavy, so I had to be careful, and I noticed in a couple of times I might have oversprayed a bit to take care of the detail. But once it dried, it kind of came to. Like, so I didn't really overspray. I was close to overspraying. So I got my pearl green done. I'm moving on to a couple of these white pieces for the arm and for the hands. I went with white instead of gray, and then I can rough them up with some washes to darken them. Next, I'm going to move into the black. I'm going to do the black of the rubber. I actually didn't have a matte black, so I'm just going to coat these with and I'll probably hit them with the matte finish afterwards. But you can see these I did overspray a bit. I lost a little bit of groove, not too much of it, but you have to be real careful with the older plastic. I've been trying to get better with my airbrush learning how to clean it out right afterwards. But yeah, so I've got a very small gauge here for this one, and I'm got sprayed out some of those pieces. Aluminum color now. I'm trying to get the aluminum for the rims, and then I'm going to hit over the black again, just because I thought the black was easier to just coat it with the base coat. Got some rim there. I'm going to do a couple coats of that with the aluminum. Now I'm going to move into this kind of see-through spray. I'm going to use this for the dome. And I'm just going to spray it on the right on the model. You can see I'll kind of get that little spray through to give it a little bit of translucency. And I'll use the same with the gold. This was kind of yellow in it, but I'm going to use this gold color just because it will have a bit of spray through that'll kind of give it that canopy color. And you can see these looking pretty nice. They look good on the outside once you put them in. I kind of made it a little bit too dark for the face mask, but it's okay. And then finally the couple arm pieces will be red. I noticed that these were painted, these are the ones like I was saying in the model unboxing. There's some Mego-like models that actually have this as cloth, but this looks pretty cool underneath, aligned with the box art. And this is where I talk about that assembly, right? So you've got to pre-paint some of these arm and leg pieces and then assemble them again. And then I sand them and I'll hit them with a bit of spray afterwards again. And then I'll weather them after that. So I'm kind of getting ready for the second assembly. Some pieces are assembled here, some aren't, but the color mix pieces that you have to create, I just got the assembly order here. So whether it's the legs, getting the foot pad in, and then the white thigh piece assembled, I had a bit of trouble here too with the, make sure you sand the paint off any gluable surface. I made that mistake, and you got the arms here set up. So it's coming together nicely. And the body, the torso, I actually had to flip the arms around a bit. Some of the pegs were backwards. The instructions are very unclear, so kind of walk through it first before you glue. Make sure everything is right. Getting the tires assembled next, and some of the metal armature around the transforming components. Yeah, it's starting to already look cool. I was already getting into this, and it brought back a lot of memories of watching this as when it used to be on as Robotech back in the 80s. I did watch a couple builds of various Mospeada models, and I saw some weathering techniques, so I'm going to practice a bit of that too, just because it does look so plasticky and raw. Here's a little face to paint through, so I'll kind of hit that face as well. And here we're going to assemble some of the transformed motorcycle gear, and these will be sort of the back piece. These two pieces are looking cool already. I'm going to hit those tires with some mud afterwards. I got the back exhaust and some of the vents painted, and I'm going to do brush work to touch up. Here's some of the gadgets for the swap out parts. This is like the sight. I have a red light for the sight there, and I'm following the cues on the box art mostly. These are the cannons that are on the forearm cannons, and you can see that these swap in and out. This is the sight version. It's like when they launch a beret of missiles and rockets. So here I'm painting up the face here now, some flesh tone. I'm going to hit the eyes. I'm going to exaggerate the eyes a bit to see if you can see them through the mask. But in the end, my mask was a little bit too dark, but that's okay. I know it's in there. Then we're going to do some assembly of all these metallic pieces. We got the face piece there. Right on the leg knee part, I'm using this Tamiya metallic blue just for these areas. Just going to brush that in as opposed to spraying it. I didn't want to do the work to set that all up, so just for this little bit of color, so just do some careful brush work. Really focusing here on trying to keep my lines straight and just minimize just square it off. Yeah, I think it was just one coat was enough for that. One well-placed coat. Now doing the assembly of the back gear, get the tires and the struts there. Should look pretty cool. get the shoulder pieces on. Now we got that metallic gold piece. You see that looks pretty good. And then we'll glue in the face. And then we'll get the helmet on. You can already see it's coming together real well. It's a super fun build. It took me about 2 days to do this. On and off between gluing and painting and different coats of paint. So now we got the final assembly. I'm going to move into weathering this and doing some decals. And for weathering, basically, I'm just going to use a little bit of alcohol spritz. I'm going to use some spritzing of color. I'm going to use some aluminum color dry brushing to give it some metal flaking. But I'll do a number of those techniques. And then I'll get the decals on, following the decal guide. And these are old decals, so that's a whole thing. You'll see that how that plays out later. But yeah, for weathering, I just kind of get through it. I definitely flicking some colors, using some spritz, and you can see how the first round of weathering looks. I got some oil drains. I use some washes. I use some, you can see the washes there in the front. Decals were another story. Some of these decals, I mean, these are quite old. They're from 1985, so some of them disintegrated in the water. I recovered a few of them. A lot of the smaller ones were fine, but I'll probably pick up some new decals or make some stencils and get the Mars base on the feet. If you can see, they'll have a partial Mars base on one of the feet. But yeah, it kind of works with the weathering. But overall, fun model to build. Was really one of these nostalgia models. I'm looking forward to doing the second build. Take you guys out with some hero shots. And hey, if you like what we're doing here, like and subscribe. You can get updated when we build the next model. If you have some comments, we'd love to hear from you guys down below. Check out our Patreon, check out our Instagram. And thanks for watching. Talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.